Well, we are going to now move into our annual business meeting of our cooperative, and I'd now like to introduce Diana Clark, who is the benefits manager at Promega and also serving for her second year as the Alliance board chair. Diana.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here today with you all. It's a pleasure to chair the board of the Alliance, and our first order of business is to approve the minutes from last year's annual meeting. For members attending in person, you can find a copy of the meeting minutes in your folder. Virtual members can download a digital copy directly in the GoToMeeting platform now. So with that being said, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, thank you, Brad. Is there a second motion? You'll second that? Okay, thank you, Jake. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. And now that the minutes are approved, I'd like to take a moment to welcome all of our new member organizations to the Alliance. We're thrilled to be expanding and attracting new members who want to be part of the combination of control, choice, and cost savings offered through self-funding with the Alliance. Since our last fiscal year ended on May 31st, 2022, we've added nearly 50 new members. And we're already off to a great start for fiscal 2023. Since June 1st, we've added another 21 new members. We're excited to see that and look forward to continue working with you. Next, I'd like to talk about our most recent board election. The Alliance uses electronic voting to make it convenient for cooperative members to cast their vote for our board of directors. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce the Alliance Board of Directors. Dan Ludwig, Director of Benefits and Safety at Breakbush Brothers. Jake Nolan, Vice President of Human Resources at Rice Lake Weighing Systems. Brad Ohm, Vice President of Shared Services for Gordon Flesh Company. Craig Parsons, President at Palmer Johnson Power Systems. And John Stevens, Chief Strategy Officer at WPS Health Solutions. In addition, the following board members have been re-elected to 3-year terms. Richard Campbell, Head of Human Resources at ABS Global, a division of Genus PLC. Kyle Reading, President at Spuncast. And me, Diana Clark, Benefits Manager from Promega Corporation. In addition, Jim Beyer, Chief Financial Officer at Fall River Group, has been elected to fill a vacant seat through 2024. Thank you, Jim. I'm also happy to announce the election of our newest board member, Mike Tomzik, Vice President of Finance and Fleet Operations at Colby Windows and Doors. Congratulations and welcome, Mike. On behalf of our members of the Alliance, thank you all for your willingness to share your time and talent as board members. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to work with each of you. And now I'd like to introduce Doug Benzine, Vice President of Finance and Operations at the Alliance and also Board Treasurer. He will provide a report on the financials for the past year.
Well, thank you, Diana. Well, this will be my first treasurer's report. And I really want to thank Diana and the board for all their support in my transition to this role. It's been fascinating for me to move into this environment. So again, I want to thank them very much for the support that they've provided. Like Steve, I'm going to be sharing a few numbers and I want to be able to summarize it the best I can. But I'm going to have a few charts, not quite as many as Steve did. But I've known Steve for a long time, and I want to, again, just thank him for all the information that he provided. A lot of that will play into some of the information I'll be talking about today. So before I get started and provide the financial report, I wanted to take a step back and just give a summary for everybody of our organizational structure, kind of a reminder. kind of reset the table. We are structured as a cooperative, and that is very unique. They have some very unique aspects. One being, cooperatives are owned by their members. They have a very unique ownership structure. For the Alliance, all the employers are our members, which are our owners. So we represent you in the marketplace. That's very unique. We don't have shareholders. We don't have any outside investors that we have to cater to. As a member, they elect the board of directors. Again, the board of directors are providing our guidance and our strategic oversight for us at the Alliance. So that's a huge responsibility from the members. That board of directorship comes from within our members. Profits at a cooperative are distributed back to its members. We have a lot of different terms. We say net proceeds, net income. In the cooperative world, it's called patronage. The board of directors decides every year how that patronage is distributed back in cash or in equity. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. And finally, the one that, again, I touched on earlier, the management's really, its attention is focused on the members. So when we're out talking to, for example, providers and trying to explain and negotiate with them, they're not dealing with a large corporate insurance company that has offices across the country and has shareholders and has all these outside investors. You know, they're dealing with the local employer. The local employer has local interests. They have local concerns. They're buying $900 million a year in healthcare services. That's a strong message in the local environment with our providers. Okay, we're going to move into some of our charts. We love numbers, at least I do. Hopefully some of you do as well. This chart is really showing our revenue and our expenses over time. It's a trend analysis. There's 3 bars there. We have a total revenue, total expense, and then what I referred to before as our net proceeds or our net income on an annual basis. You can see that we've had a pretty steady increase over the years in our net revenue. We had a dip in fiscal year 20. And again, just to remind everybody, our fiscal year runs from June 1 to May 31. In fiscal year 20, we had obviously the pandemic, which impacted just about everybody in this room. Since then, we've seen a steady increase in our revenue. In fiscal year 22, our net revenue was roughly 10.4 million. Our net expenses were about 8.5 million, which netted out our net proceeds about 1.9 million. The majority of our growth in our net assets or net revenue really was originated from 2 different areas. One was from the expansion of what I call the normalization of healthcare utilization. Our largest source of revenue comes from the share in the profits and the benefits of our contracts with all of employers. With the increasing utilization of services, we have a larger number that we're taking a small percentage of that profit. Our expenses went up a little bit this last year, primarily because in 21, we had put some constraints in, some expense controls. We didn't necessarily hire all the roles, fill all our openings, things like that. In fiscal year 22, we have started filling those openings. So we had a little higher expenses. Our net proceeds was about 1.9 million. That proceeds is now being distributed back to the members. The board has decided, it made a determination on how we're going to distribute that back, that roughly 43% of the net proceeds will go back as cash to our members. 57% will be retained as allocated equity and used for our future strategic investments. Will be used toward make sure we maintain a healthy reserves for our ongoing entity. Everybody should, all the members in the room should have received their patronage check or will receive it very soon. So reach out to us today if you haven't received it and let us know. Our financial position. This is a snapshot, in essence, our balance sheet. It's a snapshot in time. As you can see again, we've had a traditional trajectory of increasing our assets every year. This is a very strong financial position. The Alliance is in a very good financial area. Again, in this aspect, you're seeing our assets grew last year, primarily due to our increase in revenue. Again, a very strong financial position. This spot, I would just like to make sure everybody knows that the board hires an audit firm annually to come in and review our financial statements for accuracy, to make sure we have the right controls in place. This year, we received a very good audit again from that audit firm. All right, how do we measure success for us? Success is really based on what kind of impact do we have in the marketplace, in the healthcare marketplace. We've come a long ways from the 7 members that started the Alliance. We have 315 plus employers and growing. We have 110,000 lives. We are getting the market's attention, we'll say, be it providers, be it TPAs, be it brokers. We are bringing volume to market that people will talk to us, make sure that we are negotiating with them. We have their attention. And the healthcare cost. This is something, we're here as a company to help all of our members control the healthcare costs. So we put this metric together, and I've talked to several people on the history of this metric. And at a high level, just to give you a snapshot of this is the per member per month charge for all of on an annualized basis for our employers, our employer members. And as you can see, it's been pretty gradually increasing. Fiscal year 20 during the pandemic, again, it came down because utilization came way down. Now we're starting to see it come back up. The 2 drivers that are really principally behind the percentage increases each year are unit costs and utilization. The Alliance has the most influence in the unit cost. Our fantastic contract negotiating team is out there working with all the providers and getting the best rates that we possibly can. That represents only about 30% of that increase every year. So 70+% of the increase on an annual basis, when you look back to fiscal year 14, is based on the utilization. That's all the charts I got. I know you're all relieved that I wasn't going to go on to all the balance sheet and all that stuff. But in summary, the Alliance is in a very, very strong financial position. We're paying out cash and patronage. We are growing. We're a growing entity, and we have very, very strong reserves. So as an entity, we're doing very, very well. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those at the break. But again, thanks to everybody for coming today, and I will turn it over to Cheryl.
Thanks, Doug. And it's now my pleasure to provide a few highlights from this last fiscal year. Those of you who have been a member of the Alliance for a while will find this to be a familiar diagram. These are our 4 core drivers. This is essentially our strategic roadmap. These are the areas that we focus on because this is where employers can have an impact, a positive impact on improving the value of healthcare. The first has to do with transparency of information, and the Alliance has been focused on improving transparency of price and quality since we opened our doors 33 years ago. Over the course of this last year, we launched our Smarter Health Advisor, which is a web-based tool designed to help you and your employees identify high, medium, and low-priced options for 22 shoppable procedures or tests. You can find Smarter Care Advisor on our website. It is easy to use. You go in, click on or select the network that you're part of, select the care that you need, choose how far you want to drive to get that care, and press go, and you get the results. There's no password needed, and there's no charge for this. This is a starting point for employers and consumers to find more affordable options. Also related to transparency in this past year was the work that we did in conjunction with your third-party administrators to meet the requirements of the healthcare transparency rule, the transparency and coverage rule. This took effect in January, and I'm happy to say that thanks to the hard work of our team, your TPAs had what they needed from the Alliance in order to meet those requirements on time. So transparency is one part of our strategy. Another part is provider network design. Who is in the network or not, and at what tier if we're tiering the network. So we've grown significantly. Our network's grown significantly over the course of the last year. We've added 183 providers, including hospitals in Ashland and Hayward, Wisconsin, and in Illinois, Lurie's Children's Hospital, which has over 53 clinic locations. That was a big deal. We also added 71 behavioral health providers, understanding that probably now more than ever, the need for good access to behavioral health care is so important. And so we really prioritized adding those providers to our network. And finally, we added some fun, new, innovative providers, including Pivotal Health, which is an independent provider of cost-effective in-home urgent care, and ACOS, an innovative provider of virtual primary care, urgent care, and care for chronic conditions. You're going to be hearing more from ACOS a little bit later this afternoon as part of our panel. The third area of focus for us is on payment reform. We understand that the way we pay for healthcare influences how healthcare is delivered, and that traditionally healthcare gets paid for using fee-for-service methods, which means doctors and hospitals are rewarded for doing more things to more people, regardless of whether those things were the right things to do or whether it's care that the patient actually needed. We're working to realign financial incentives so that doctors and hospitals are rewarded for providing high quality care in the most cost-efficient way. And one strategy that we're pursuing is bundled pricing. The benefit of a bundle is that patients know on the front end what the total cost is going to be. And providers are motivated to be more efficient because they know they have to stay within that bundled price. Now, I'll just add a note of caution here. Just because something is priced as a bundle does not mean it's a good deal. There are bundled prices being offered, which in fact are not a good deal. And that's why our provider network team is scrutinizing bundles very carefully and only taking those in that are a good value for Alliance members. That said, though, this last year, we were able to increase bundles in some important areas. One, through Novo Health, who added ear, nose, and throat care to the over 100 bundles we already have with them. And secondly, through Holista, a new partnership with a bundled service technology company. Through Holista, we added access to more than 200 new bundled services from providers in orthopedics, general surgery, MRI, sleep studies, and more. You'll be hearing from Holista as part of the panel this afternoon as well. And as I said earlier, we are so encouraged by really the innovative patient-centered models of care that we see sprouting up outside of the traditional healthcare system. So the last area of focus for us is benefit plan design. The previous areas, transparency of price and quality, network design, and payment reform are all important, but it's benefit plan design that has the power to really supercharge this strategy, because it's through plan design done right that we can shift care to doctors and hospitals that do a good job and cost less. And in the process, create a market, a functional market that rewards healthcare value. When you design your plans to encourage employees to use doctors and hospitals that do a good job and cost less, not only do they get better care, but together we can improve the market. And we're making real progress in this area. As of today, 35% of all Alliance members are using some form of financial incentives to encourage their employees to use high-value providers. And remarkably, when we look at just employer members who are 100 employees or more, that percentage jumps to almost 100%. The potential savings are significant, especially if your employees are using high-priced providers. Looking at 55 shoppable services, employers can save 8 to 14% of their total healthcare spend just by impacting where care is received for those 55 shoppable services. And we are eager to work with you if you're not already taking advantage of this approach. Our team would be happy to work with you to meet with you and work with you and your brokers so that you understand how this could work and the benefits it could provide for your company. So those are the highlights from this last year. I want to close by making a pitch. We are going to be sending out an employer satisfaction survey so that we can measure your satisfaction with the services of the Alliance. This is something that we use very sparingly. We know that survey fatigue is real, and we haven't done an employer satisfaction survey for several years, but we are doing one. It'll probably launch in mid-November, and I encourage you all to fill the survey out when you get it. Your feedback is so important to us to help us know whether we're meeting your needs and how we can improve.